I think Michigan's Jaishawn Barham is a really interesting football player. He's pretty new to the edge rushing position, but he's looked pretty good in that role for Michigan this season. And he played good against his former team, Maryland, on Saturday. Finished with 4 tackles, 2 of them in the backfield. Also had a sack. We're going to watch what he did against Maryland. It's going to be a really interesting football player when we're talking about him in the draft. We'll kind of hold off on that. We'll talk about what he's doing on Saturdays and how this impacted this Maryland-Michigan game. But this first play, he's pretty new to the edge position, and I think we see that with him jumping off sides every now and then. But I'm really surprised with how violent the hands are. This looks like a dude that's been playing at this edge position a lot more longer than he has been. But just look at the violence with the hands here, the way that he can just shock and shed all within a half second, really within a quarter second, and he's in a position to make a play in the backfield here. This all happens so fast like it has to on the goal line. The offense has the advantage being this close, can't give up an inch here, and he's not the one that makes a tackle, but he's in a position to make a play on the ball here. There's no doubt about that. Really good stand by Michigan on this play right here. This next play we'll watch, this is what so I think when we're talking about him being an edge rusher, if that's really what he's going to be doing in the NFL, there's a lot of conversations to have about that. But a lot of guys that don't have that off-ball experience like the way Jaishawn Barham does, I think they kind of have some trouble just redirecting, finding the football. We'll see a better example of that in a little bit. But this play right here, this play that gets made in the backfield, the explosiveness, that quick twitch, that looks like an edge rusher. That quick trigger makes this play in the backfield. We're going to see that in a pass rushing context a lot in this Maryland game, but we see that against the run right there. But let's take a look at that first step and then the bend. That ability to turn the corner. 6'3", 245. We're really going to like that ability to turn the corner here. Just how flexible of a football player he is. Looks pretty good. This next play, this is triple or just read option here. I don't really have to explain it. Let's take a look at the quarterback. He's reading number 1 Barham. If he crashes, he's going to pull it. This is a really good job by Barham first accounting for the quarterback. The whole point of this read option is, they're using the quarterback to take somebody out of the box. It's not always, the point of the read option is not always to get the quarterback running. It's just to have one less dude in the box to make a play on the running back. And Barham first takes care of the quarterback to see if Washington pulls it. He's in a good position to make a play on him. Just adds himself back into the box, and he's actually the one that makes the play on it. This is read option's not going to work if the guy you're leaving unblocked can account for the quarterback and then just right away add himself back into the box and make a play in the backfield. Just completely wrecked that play right there. And so why can Jaishawn Barham do this at 245 pounds when the opposing offensive tackle's 300, 320 maybe? We talk about speed to power all the time. This is an earmark of a really good pass rusher when they have that first step and then they're able to convert that speed into power. We can see Jaishawn Barham does a really good job on that. And then finding the ball and making the sack in the backfield. I think Maryland's been sacked something like 3 times the entire season before this Michigan game. And Michigan sacks Maryland 3 times in this game, so pretty much doubled their sack total the entire year, and that was a nice pass rush. Barham only had 1 sack in this game, but he was in the backfield the entire game. We see this here. Just a really twitched up football player. The reason why these guys get talked about getting drafted, it's not necessarily because they're good football players, it's because they have traits that the NFL scouts, covet. I think right now we can see he kind of has those traits that NFL scouts are going to like a whole lot when they're watching his film and talking about drafting him. And first it's that first step, and then it's that ability to just get around the corner. He's really green. He's a really green pass rusher. Really new to the position, but I think traits-wise, I think he's going to be an interesting conversation to have. And this is that off-ball experience I was talking about. Look at how he can just completely find the ball, redirect, and then make this play in the backfield. Really good football player for sure. You see that first step in the bend. Now, one thing I think we're going to really get excited about Barham is he's doing all this with 1 or 2 pass rush moves. You watch the best guys in the country, Cassius Howell, David Bailey, they're so fast to the outside, completely gets the tackle out of position, and then they can kind of move to the inside or do whatever they have to do just based on that. When Barham starts adding another pass rush move to his repertoire, he's going to be a really good pass rusher. And, I know that sounds like a negative to say that he doesn't have a whole lot of pass rush moves. I look at it as a positive, something to improve on and become a better football player. But he's just into the backfield so fast. Eventually, he's going to start, these offensive tackles are going to start having to favor that outside shoulder a lot more because of how fast he gets there. And that's going to open up the inside for him going forward. But really interesting football player. You guys let me know what you think about him. Any other context that I missed. I know he's been moving around positions a whole lot. was, from reading from Michigan fans' opinions, on the boards and all that kind of stuff, looks a lot better in this 2025 season. So you kind of like those guys that have an upward trajectory rather than guys that, kind of slowed down. He's definitely a guy that's picking up speed. You guys let me know what you think about Barham. Thanks for watching.